This may have been an overstated opinion, but I believe that Shin Megami Tensei 4 is one of the best mainline titles in the Megami Tensei series. It has an intriguing story, great characters, and fun gameplay. And I believe that other mainline titles are good in their own merit. But this game has a special place in my heart. However, I've been wanting to bring up one thing that I have noticed while I was playing the mainline game, and it's the inconsistent framing of the protagonists. We know that the protags are protags, but if you look into the SNES era games, the protagonists are unable to use magic. In the older games, protagonists had to use swords for the entirety of the game, as they don't have any means to learn magic. However, the heroines and her other allies are able to use magic, even if they are human. Then, in the modern mainline SMT titles, the protagonists are able to use magic. I find that kind of strange, but at the same time, I love using magic. But what would happen if we took away magic from the protags, and we had to resort to items and regular swords and guns? In this video, I am going to attempt the challenge where Flynn cannot learn any magic. I came up with this when I was bored, and I thought that it would be fun to attempt. Technically, this is a no Demon Whisper run, but it's still exciting nonetheless. Alright, here are the rules. Flynn is unable to learn any magic. It's pretty self-explanatory. He cannot learn magic from Demon Whisper, but he can still use magic items like how the older protagonists can. Flynn can only use swords and guns. Since we cannot use magic, we are going to have to rely on physical as the main damaging element. However, there are such things as elemental bullets, which will be explained when the time comes. The game will be done on New Game. I want this run to be played on a fresh save file. I know there is the master difficulty in New Game Plus, but I don't want to be tempted to use any demons saved in my compendium. Besides, I've wanted to do a New Game run for a while since most of my playtime was spent on New Game Plus. Finally, DLC will be allowed. I thought of counting this out, but depending on the ending I'll decide to do, there is a quest where you have to have a large sum of money to complete it. That was miserable when I first did it, so to save time and my sanity, I will allow it. The only thing I will not allow is the DLC bosses. After you beat the bosses, you have the ability to fuse them, and they have really busted skills that would trivialize the run, so to prevent that, they would not be used. Now that we got the rules established, let's begin the run. Can you beat SMT4 without using magic? We start the game by seeing our protagonist Flynn, floating in the sky where he is told that we are going to shake the new world. Then, we wake up seeing two figures in different locations. The one in the Flaming City is named Walter, and the one in the empty desert is named Jonathan, where they both state that we are going to create the new world together. We don't know exactly what that means yet, but after that we wake up by a lake by our friend Issachar. He and I apparently came from our hometown to attend this gauntlet rite, where every year, people are randomly chosen to become a samurai. Once we head to the castle and into Aquila State Plaza, we await our turn to see if we are chosen. Issachar, unfortunately, was not chosen, but we are since the gauntlet showed the mystic script, or Japanese. Commander Hope then takes us to the barracks, where we will be staying from now on. The next day, we are told to head to the front of Naraku, where we meet Walter, a fellow cavalry who also became a samurai, Jonathan, a luxurer whose father works in a monastery, Navarre, an unimportant character who will become important to the next game, and the compassionate Isabel, a luxurer who comes from a family of monks. Together, we are told that our true job is exterminating the demons slain in the Naraku dungeon. Now, Naraku is infamous for being a difficult tutorial dungeon, as the damage formula is kind of strange where even the weakest normal attack can chip away most of your health. The only thing that saves it is that you can get free healing in the barracks just outside. But if you are too deep into the dungeon, on the verge of death, you can kiss your butt goodbye. Unless you save scum every time you don't want to encounter any demons. Yeah, when you save and then load the save, the encounters reset, so if you want to skip encounters or the funky stolen sword skill doesn't work well, then just save and reload. After completing our tutorial missions, we level up and get the chance to distribute our stats. How I am going to play this is to have a gun build. However, guns aren't available until we get deeper into Naraku, so for now, I'm going to have to put some stats on strength and dexterity to boost thermal attacks and guns respectively. I will also put one stat each for agility and luck in order to get crits and go faster than the enemies. Hope then gives us a mission to find something in Naraku, and that item is being guarded by a horde which immediately puts us at exactly 1 HP. It doesn't help that I was put to sleep since I need the turns that I can get. Anyways, this boss doesn't have that much HP, you just have to heal up with whatever you have, attack with Zon, and you should be fine. Anyways, after returning the ring, we, Walter and Jonathan, agreed to head to the rooftop to watch the scenery of Mikado Castle. The next day, we are asked to go to Kay's Tavern to introduce us to challenge quests, which Navarre challenged us to determine who could complete them first. Burroughs introduces us to the Demon Fusion mechanic, which we would need since I cannot reliably hit any elemental weaknesses with just a sword and a gun. After quickly completing the challenge quests, we are told by one of Navarre's peers that he has apparently went missing in Naraku, and we are tasked to find him. It turns out that this was a setup by his peers due to his humiliation earlier. Now we have to fight 2 Nagas, which decimate us in the first attempt, but the next one goes well enough. They are weak to fire, but they can spam Tarakaja, which can be dangerous at this point in the game. Make sure you have some buffs ready and you should be good. We go deeper into the dungeon to see another of Navarre's peers, who challenges us with a Wendigo and a Horde. The first attempt does not go well, again. Same for the second attempt, but after fusing a new demon, we do a better job at surviving. The Wendigo is weak against fire and electric, while the Horde is weak to just electric. I advise getting multi-hit skills like Critical Wave or a Boss spell to clear this Horde, as it can get really nasty if you don't clear it soon enough. As we get deeper into Naraku, we stumble upon a domain, where we see a little girl running around as well as a man named Steven offering free healing. After grinding near Steven, we reach the end of the domain to see Navarre and others with the boss Aro. She is weak to fire and doesn't have that much HP. With a Paling with Tarakaja, we are doing close to 100 damage per Agi. She also has Poison Breath, which is annoying, but I have enough Disc Poisons in my bag. It shouldn't take too long to take her out. After we get Navarre out, we head out ourselves. After that fiasco, Jonathan invites us to eat breakfast by Mikado Lake, where we see our old friend Isakar. Apparently, he has gifts that he needs to bring back home to Kichigeorgi, which is something that we will take note of. Later that night, we spy on Isabel for some reason, and she introduces us to her manga, which is similar to the literature being distributed around the castle. Isabel then notices a fire in the direction of Kichigeorgi, our home village. Once we hit Kichigeorgi village, we are tasked to enter the forest where some of the villagers flee to. There are 3 enemies that are in the way of the villagers. The first one we encounter is the Element Horde, which has no weaknesses and gave us some trouble. The next one is the Innocent Horde, which has a weakness against ice and electric. The last one is the Strix that has a weakness against gun and electric. This would be good for me if I had a gun, but I will get one pretty soon, so I had to remain patient. As we defeat the hordes, we are advised by Hope that there is a suspicious black samurai who might be connected to what happened in the town. As we go deeper in the forest, we encounter Isakar, who has been influenced by the supposed literature, and now we have to fight him. Isakar does not have any weaknesses, which makes it difficult for us, especially since I lost to him in an attempt or 2 earlier. Now, he will introduce the concept of mid-battle dialogue, where you can or lose benefits depending on how you answer. This occurs for most of the bosses that you will encounter in the game, so I'd advise to choose wisely, as wrong answers can lead to bad consequences. I answered wrong in this one, but the correct answer for the first one is to just say you're a casualty. Then the next ones are alignment choices. After that, it doesn't take long for him to be in the red, and we eventually take him down. After the battle, Hope notifies us that the Black Samurai was spotted deeper in this forest. Once we catch up to her, she tells us a bit of her reasons and advises us to head to the underground, whatever that is. She then spawns a Lilith Horde, which casts a charm spell and puts us out of commission. Once we wake up, we head out of the forest to explain what transpired. Here's where I decided on how my stats would be distributed. I will get access to guns pretty soon, so I'm going to start putting stats with a 3:1:1 ratio on dexterity, agility, and luck, respectively. Once we head back to the barracks, we are taken back to the dream sequence and are told by the dream Walter to head to the underground. And the dream Jonathan tells us not to go. I wonder what both of them are telling us. When we wake up, we head to Aquila Plaza where Abbot Hugo tells us about what happened in the village, as well as suspecting that she is related to the unclean ones from the underground. He then assigns an official task to head to the underground to infiltrate it and arrest the Black Samurai. Once we get deeper into Naraku, we will encounter one of the most infamous bosses in all of Megaten, the Minotaur. He is known to have powerful skills and has a fire nullification. I will have to prepare by leveling up, getting gear, and once we are ready, we head deeper to finally face the Minotaur. Now the Minotaur has a weakness to ice. He has access to War Cry, which lowers attack and defense, Labor Strike, a mega damage move. Oni Kagura, a high crit but low accurate move that he likes to spam a lot. And worst of all, Charge, which can boost his already dangerous physical attacks. I had a couple of attempts before this as Flynn gets taken out pretty early, and my demons couldn't endure the Minotaur's attacks long enough to finish him. The current attempt goes very well, as I start buffing my party and doing some okay damage. My Agathion gets taken out early, but I substituted with the Pele I had in the stock, and she still has access to Tarkaja, which helps my ice damage. He eventually gets a Smirk, but luckily doesn't KO anyone, so I had Bifron spamming Media as much as possible. My strategy here is to get Smirks with Spriggan or from any crit or ice damage in order to dismiss the Minotaur's press turns. If that happens, I can survive longer and deal much damage to him. I didn't mention it earlier, but Smirking in SMT 4 is very broken, as you have a higher evasion rate, nullify your weakness, and gain a high amount of crit rate. This works on both sides, so I just have to be very careful. It works successfully as this happened a couple of times, but I know I am on borrowed time. One crit and it's over. He does bring up some prompts, so just respond with messages that sound sophisticated like, "We are determined to win," or something. Any Kunda effects on the enemy is vital, so of course I'll choose the correct answers. Then the Minotaur charges up and hits Flynn, which unfortunately takes him out. Luckily I had enough revival beats to bring it back with Pele. We're close to the end, so he uses Warcry as a last move, misses Agathion and Spriggan, and we finally take him out. That was a tough battle, but it isn't over yet, as there's one final hurdle before we get to the underground. Nearby, we go into a room with a mystic relic. Burroughs calls this a gun, and this is what we are looking for. With this gun, we can finally start utilizing our dexterity stat, and we no longer have to start dumping stats into useless stats such as strength. Anyways, we walk a few steps to be introduced to the terminal rooms, which we will use to traverse around different places throughout the game. We take advantage of this by going back to Mikado and healing up any injuries we got during the investigation. Then, we see one of the coolest cutscenes ever. When I first saw this, I was mind blown.
Stars below us.
It's lovely.
Once we reach the observation platform, we see strange statues of human proportions. Then, we see one of, in my opinion, another infamous boss of the series, Medusa. This time, she is weak to Zan, which I take full advantage of. She has the Yonga and multiple gun spells, but the worst one is Snake's Fangs, which has a chance to bind enemies, which will affect us a lot. What's worse is that she herself resists gun. I think that when a game introduces you to a new mechanic, you can take full advantage of it to weaken the boss right after. But not in this game apparently. Anyways, I just have to buff up my evasion and defenses because I need to get rid of repressed turns. But when it comes to removing turns, it never happens to the boss. I also have to rely on smirks again, but I can't abuse it forever since I can run out of MP fast. So, I just have to get lucky. Well, I didn't get as lucky since she does get a crit once, which brings Fortuna to low HP. But luckily, it misses Fortuna, which is great because I can keep spamming Zan. We get close to taking her out, but she gets a lucky crit and takes out half my team. But Spriggan was already out of MP, so his death wasn't in vain. Luckily, I still have my Fomorian, which gets a crit, but it wasn't enough, as he didn't get a smirk, and we end up falling. Fortuna avenges us by finally taking out Medusa for good. After taking Medusa down, we go to the first floor to see some of the supposed unclean ones, and we head outside to take a view of the underworld called Tokyo. Hugo calls us to mention a bit of Tokyo, and to search for this counter-demon forest base located somewhere in the land of the unclean ones. That will be our mission in the meantime, while we simultaneously search for the Black Samurai. Once that's done, we head to the nearest place of civilization, Ueno. right before we somehow no-clip down into the ground and drop into the back rooms. Maybe a specific floating yellow head is the cause of this, due to the potential power Flynn will have during this challenge. As we enter the Ueno underground district, we encounter our first terminal fight. Yeah, this dude will be guarding most of the terminals around Tokyo, and early on I found this pretty annoying, but it does get easier as soon as I power up during the game. Throughout the run, I won't be covering any of this for the reason I explained just now. Since we are in the district, I now have access to the Regional Hunters Association, as well as the gear and item shops. The association is the place where you will accept and complete quests, and they provide a full team heal for a fee of 100 maka. In the shops, we can get some new guns and bullets for Flint. I'm going to utilize the bazooka line of guns, and this is because they can hit 1 to 4 times. Each bullet is unique in a way where each can roll the dice on the crits, and the more hits we do, the higher chance of critting at least once. Also, I noticed that there are bullets that are imbued with element. I never knew about this at all since I've never done the gun build, and knowing about it seems exciting at first, but the issue with these bullets is that they could be considered magic due to having an element. Something to bring up is that the pierce or gun tip is also considered an element, so technically I could still use this, but for now let's set up an optional rule where I cannot use the element bullets, or at the very least just use the pierce element until I can no longer do so. We head back into the association to learn that the counter demon force is located in Kasumi Gaseki, south of Ueno. We cannot go there at the moment, but we can accept the quest to eliminate PLA, and somehow this quest is related to a search, but who knows at this moment. Anyways, PLA is located near Shinobasu Pond. Apparently the guy was tormenting the area, and now he has the target on his back for it. After preparing for a bit, we can finally challenge him. He first sends out a Morio horde that can drain your MP. I advise getting rid of them as soon as possible because MP is still a bit sparse at this point, but they aren't that hard to deal with. Once they're gone, PLA appears, and he isn't really that special either. He only has one damaging move, Palimpa and the Kaja. Palimpa has a high chance of hitting, but you can cure it with items you can buy in the shops right now. Besides that, just hit him with your best fire moves and he should go down pretty quickly. We go south of Ueno to meet a group of Kelpies who happily munch on PLA's head, and in return, they give us a ride to the other side of the river. We are now in a new area of Tokyo, and we can now head to the base in Kasumi Gaseki. Once we get there, we are stopped by some Ashura-kai goons, and now we have to fight their Tsuchiyama, who is weak to ice and force. With the lack of HP, he should go down pretty quickly. Once we get into the bunker, we see a familiar face, or suit in this case, as what's shown in the display isn't the Black Samurai herself, but suits called Demonicas, which the counter demon force used to fend off the demons years back. With searching around the place, we earned a gun we're never going to use, as well as a slick black Demonica the Black Samurai wears. Of course I'm going to have it on, even though its defenses are kind of shit. Oh, and we also found a keycard that we can use to open the door next to us. In the unlocked room, we discovered that this is the briefing room of the counter demon force. Its purpose was never really explained to us right now, except for the fact that Burroughs knows something about this place, and this isn't really explained either until later in the game. Our next destination is Shinjuku, and it takes a bit to get there because the path leading to the city is covered in a poison swamp. Once we get past that and into Shinjuku, we are stopped by an Ashura-kai member who wants us to accept a corpse cleanup mission due to the casualties. There are 7 of them running around in different sections of Shinjuku, so just walk around the area and defeat them all with any fire spell you have, and after clearing the last one, a hunter comes talking to us about he has no hope in Tokyo, and then takes his red pill that turns it into the demon Dullahan. As of right now, we have no idea what the red pill is, but that doesn't really matter right now as the demon attacks us as soon as our other allies come to our aid. Dullahan can be an easy or hard fight depending on what happens. It doesn't have a lot of HP, like close to 1,000. It has only Blight and Mood Doom, which are very dangerous as we don't have a dark immunity as well as poison chipping down our health every single turn. It also has a weakness to electric and light skills. Our cobblestone goes down early on, but what's funny is that I made the boss sick using my gun with sick inducing bullets. Yeah, some bosses can be inflicted with ailments, but they're very resistant to it, and it won't be often that this can happen during a fight. I feel my allies go down, but with enough persistence, we are able to take it down. As we reflect on what happened just now, we have to move on and find the Black Samurai. When we go back to the underground district, we are told by the man who mentioned a Jurei demon that took over the government office building in the west side of Shinjuku. Okay, post-editing here. I'm sorry to say that I lost the footage in this section of the run. My computer was acting up a lot while playing this game, and I believe I wasn't recording this section because my emulator was lagging like shit when I was recording. If you saw any footage up to this point that was choppy, I apologize for that. I fixed my computer later on, so there shouldn't be any laggy gameplay as we continue to run. The only thing interesting in this section was just the boss. I mean, we just did a little bit of grinding, and that's pretty much it. Just a little bit of grinding and the boss itself, so... yeah, we did beat it, so... anyways, back to the video. After beating Koebiko, we traveled to Ikebukuro, where we encounter one of the Rinnegai members, Kaga. She mentions that in order to remove the barrier covering Ikebukuro, they need the Jirei Talisman, which can be received if you killed or spared Koebiko back in the government building in Shinjuku. But once we use that Jirei Talisman, we and the rest of the Rinnegai members can enter Ikebukuro, where they like to take out this demon named Shi Wangmu. Before we head into the domain, I prepared by fusing more demons near the terminal in the Ikebukuro Underground District. The Hunters Association isn't occupied in this region, which sucks, but what also sucks are these Imperial Guard hordes that are really dangerous if unprepared like I was at the start. Anyways, once we think we are ready, we head inside the domain where we meet Kaga fighting two Qing Yuguai, which we cover one for her with perfect performance. Then we head inside where Shi Wangmu is waiting for us to fight her. Shi Wangmu is weak to Zan, but at the very start she will not take any damage at all. Her gimmick is that you need to hit her around 3 times in order to trigger an event in the fight that would decrease her defenses enough to damage her properly. So, I'd advise buffing up at the start and waiting for a bit before continuing the battle. After the scene, we try our best to damage her, but she kept knocking my party down until I lose the match. What I need to do is grind a bit more up until around level 30. Refuse the party to counter her attacks, which Noe does a good job taking her turns when she does an electric spell. After that, you just have to endure her attacks for a long time because she has 4,000 HP. Up until now, bosses don't have that much HP compared to hers. And it doesn't help that I am stuck with the Media skill up until this, which she learns it at level 33. I don't really want to level up more as I want to be close to or on the boss's level as possible. This could have been easier if I had force bullets, but I didn't want to rely on them just yet. So near the end, half of my team goes down, but as Nue gets to smirk and does his on skill, Jonathan finally takes her out. After the battle, we discuss what just happened in that domain and how we struggle as humans. But after that small talk, we head to the Ikebukuro bookstore where it's rumored to have the literature that was distributed in Mikado. We enter the domain where we see a familiar horde waiting for us. This is a sign that the Black Samurai is near, so we try to get rid of them as soon as possible. Once we enter a room, the Black Samurai is waiting for us. After this very long conversation about living conditions in Tokyo and also spoiling Isabel's manga, we finally arrest the Black Samurai.
It took a while, but you finally did it.
When we head back to Mikado, we found out that she'll be executed for her crimes at the Obelisk Plaza. There, the Black Samurai reveals her face to be the spitting image of Sister Gabby, as Isabel puts it. She explains that her plan on distributing knowledge and wisdom isn't over, and she will revive herself as many times as she wants until that goal is met. The next day, Sister Gabby has summoned us in the monastery to explain that we need to rescue our fellows that are trapped in the Kagome Tower in Shinjuku Park. She is very vague when it comes to this, but she says something along the lines of them being for the benefit of the new millennium. Post-editing here again. As we headed to the Kagome Tower, I somehow lost the footage, so here is what exactly happened. We got into the Shinjuku National Park, and we were stopped by Balor, which isn't really hard. He doesn't have that much HP, so we eliminated him very quickly. Yeah, back to the Kagome Tower section. Once we get into the tower, we have to climb up these stairs to reach each room holding one of our fellows. Something to know is that there are a lot of encounters that just jump from the walls, so I just use a save load method to clear them out. Once we get to the first room, we have to find a Murmur who has a weakness to fire and ice. He doesn't have that much HP, so we can take him out quickly. Once that's done, Jonathan helps the guy by taking him back to Mikado alone. In this demon-infested Tokyo, I don't know how that makes sense, but whatever. The second room holds the boss Gummery, who has an ice weakness. Jonathan would have been great here, but what can I do? I'll just eliminate them since they don't have that much HP either. While we save this fellow, Walter takes him back to Mikado alone, with demons around. At least there's a terminal nearby, as well as Shinjuku being walking distance, I guess. And the final room is at the top of the tower that holds the big boss Asmodeus. He explains that we shouldn't rescue them because the world will be in danger. He could have changed our minds if we could somehow tell us who he actually is without mentioning his name. But why do these guys have to be so vague when it comes to stuff like this, but not vague when it comes to wanting to marry Isabel? He has close to 3000 HP with a weakness to force. What is also interesting is that he can be instant killed by a Hama spell or stone. But I believe you have to have a high luck stat for that since he is resistant to it. What sucks is that he knows gun, which makes Flynn useless except for item duty. What makes this guy annoying is that he has access to not only energy drain, but diorama too. He doesn't heal too much with these skills, but it is annoying since I can't just use my chakra pots without him spirit draining it away. During the fight, my demons ran out of MP, so I kinda gave up and enabled auto battle. I should have restarted the whole fight, but I thought that something big could happen, and it did. Many turns later, after auto battle was initiated, he eventually goes down. Traumatized by the encounter with Asmodeus, Isabel decides to take a mental health break by heading back to Mikado. And she takes along the other dude we were tasked to bring back. Now that we are alone and finished with that task, we head back to the monastery to find out that the Black Samurai has resurrected and fled to Tokyo. Our orders are not to bring her back alive, but to kill her. I wonder why Sister Gabby would say and order such a thing.
I'll register that.
Well, we find that kind of strange, but we dismiss it and head back to Tokyo. Not before we have been stopped by another samurai who has brought a message from someone named Taima who wants to meet with us. Once we arrive in Shibuya, we receive a call from Taima, and we are currently in a hostage situation where he will free the hostage if we follow his orders. He wants us to head somewhere in Shibuya called Club Milton, where someone will explain a job for us. We resupply in the shops in the Shibuya Underground District, where we purchase the bind rounds. These bullets have a chance of binding enemies when you shoot them with your gun. Combine this with fundraiser apps and a high luck stat, you could get a stack load of Maka from the enemies, as they cannot fight back when stunned. I find this funny as hell when we mug demons on the streets, and to say some lines related to us being jerks or worse than demons themselves. I mean, you guys are the jerks for trying to jump on my ass trying to kill me every step I take. You have no right to call me a jerk. After we rob demons of their Maka, we arrive at Club Milton, where we'll meet one of Taima's men. The man wants us to kill the demon Koga Saburo, who is hanging around the area in order to sell more of the red pills. I wonder what these red pills are for, and why would they sell such a thing? Once we are ready, we tell Koga Saburo that we are going to strike him down. He has a force and electric skills with Tsukakaja, which he likes to spam a lot, as well as a couple of physical skills that he likes to spam a lot as well, especially when he knows that it hits really hard. It is recommended to have a demon learn the Kaja or bring the Kaja stones, as he likes to always buff up his evasion. My first attempt does not go well, as I didn't use my Kaja skills well enough, wiping Flynn out. The next attempt I grind a bit more, used the demons and challenged him again. I made sure to bring demons with ice skills this time since I didn't have it in the previous fight, for some reason. Anyways, this fight became more manageable. The only issue was that my fusion accident Poor Wit didn't come with the Kaja but instead the Kunda, which removes my team's debuffs instead of the enemy's buffs. Luckily, I still have the Kukaja and some of the Kaja stones in my back pocket. I really don't want to rely on Ice Breath too much because each hit has a chance to miss, and that is a risk I do not want to take, especially since Koga Saburo has access to Tsukakaja. Even when it hits multiple times, smirking isn't guaranteed, and I need to remove his turns as much as possible in order to survive. It also doesn't help that Black Frost is one of those demons that has a very high HP / low MP count, and Ice Breath takes up a lot of MP on top of having a random set amount of hits. To fix this somewhat, I tried to lower his stats since Koga Saburo does not have access to the Kunda himself, and I need all the ice damage I can get. All I am doing at this moment is to just attack, match his evasion, debuff with the Kaja, and repeat. Eventually his marker starts turning red, which means he is close to death. Even if he resists gun, I still take my chances with Flynn, attacking in order to deal extra chip damage, and a final shot takes him down. After slaying Koga Saburo, the man told us that Taima himself invited us to meet him at the Hills building in Roppongi. Once we arrive there, we see our hostage still alive, but Taima won't let it go just yet. He wants us to do another task where he wants us to kill the leader of the Ring of Gaia Yuriko. The Ring of Gaia, does that ring any bells? That is what Kaga from earlier was affiliated with, and their headquarters is located in the Ginza area named Tsukiji Honganji. Once we make it to Ginza, we are stopped by a guard who blocks our way. We tell him that we wanted to kill Yuriko and challenges us to a fight to determine our strength. It's just a couple of demons and himself with not much health, so we quickly eliminate them, but not before robbing one of the demons. After the battle, he mentions that we could join the Ring of Gaia and take the recruitment test at Tsukichi Honkanji. Once we arrive in Tsukichi Honkanji, the man standing by the hall sends us the quest for a recruitment test. And we of course accept it because we won't be able to continue the story if we don't complete the quest. This section requires you to travel alone and defeat enemies without burning your candle out. To not waste any time, I am not going to cover everything here. The only thing I am going to bring up is the fact that I ran out of MP here because I didn't have the Team MP Restoration app. This would have been helpful here, but I don't want to rely on the app points DLC just yet. Eventually, I make it in front of the room where the trial ends, but I met with the Ring of Gaia member who gives us a final challenge before completing the trial. She's outside of Taraka, who has around 2400 HP with no weaknesses. She mainly focuses on attacking the candle you have in your guest party member slot, and you probably already noticed that this candle loses HP each time your turn ends, and if that candle dies, in a sense, the game is over. My candle doesn't have a lot of HP due to my horrific battles with the other mandatory fights scattered throughout the dungeon. She likes to spam Tetrakarn as well as the occasional Mudo spell. Just be very careful about this one because one Mudo and it's over. Eventually at the very end, you can barely see the red pixel on that health bar with the candle, but luckily my charged Chain Yugui was able to take her out at the very last second.
Well done. From the firmament.
That was close. If I had failed there, I had to do the whole ass trial again, and I did not want to do it again. It turns out that we all passed the test, and we entered the temple to see them already waiting for us, right before being exposed as Timeless agents, and we are sent to the Shadow Realm to who knows where. We found out that we landed in the strange hallway that leads to two paths, but to exit, we need to answer these very specific questions. This part is related to your alignment, and whichever path you take will affect it. Taking the left side lowers your alignment leading to chaos, while taking the right side increases your alignment leading to law. I answer what I think is best, and a couple of questions later, we see the Black Samurai who is simultaneously Yuriko and the Demon Lilith. Wow, what a shocker. She explains that she wants to return the world to a state where strength matters above all, and Walter seems to be convinced of that idea while Jonathan thinks otherwise. They both eventually clash swords, setting a moment where their respective views are in conflict with each other. Lilith explains further that we can discover ourselves Taima's secrets and convince us that his idea of a utopia is not what we want. Personally, I love this part because it shows the good side of stories like this. It displays the different perspectives of these characters and how they shape their views. Walter is a commoner, while Jonathan is a lecturer. I can see how it makes sense for Walter to feel this way, and I can say the same for Jonathan's perspective. I just wish Isabel would have more lines other than making small comments on what happened during the moment. After this, we head back to the Ginza shopping mall where we see Walter talking to this woman. She explains that she knows somebody who knows a way to get into the facility under the Hills building. Somebody named Fujiwara from Cafe Florida in Shinjuku has the information we need, and we were gifted a matchbox to bring to the guard at the front of the store due to a membership policy. I don't know how she got that, but whatever. We come and save the day by showing him the matchbox. We are let in to have a conversation with Hikaru and Fujiwara. Yeah, I forgot to mention her because I forgot to make footage of her. We meet her in Shinjuku for the first time and she doesn't explain much except that she is interested in us for some reason. And after this, we will most likely never see her again. Putting that aside, Fujiwara explains that he and the others know of the Eastern Kingdom of Mikado, as well as planning to emigrate to the kingdom. We also know now that we have to go through the Midtown building near Roppongi to get into Taima's facility, but Skins warns us of a demon who guards the entrance.
Be careful, samurai.
Once we make it into Midtown, we spot a demon named Tenkai who wants to battle us due to our karma. Did you find out that I have a billion updates in Reddit? Shit, I don't want him to find out I spend all my days posting on Reddit. So we battle him to silence him, prevent any information leaking. At first glance, you see Tenkai's stats and you see he has less than 2000 health, right? You think, wow, that's so easy. Well, the catch is that when you do pitiful damage, you find out he is resistant to everything except Almighty. Yeah, that's the gimmick of this fight. I'd advise buffing your attack and lowering his defense to clear this faster. He has Megiddo, Life Spirit Drain, and Rakukaja. Rakukaja is a problem because he is already beefy with his resistances. We don't need him to be even more beefy. You can also use Megiddo from a Thoth at level 30 and Whisper to your Flynn, but I cannot do that since this is a no magic challenge. So we're stuck with guns hoping for a crit. During the fight, he asks you alignment questions. For the first one, he'll ask you for your vision of Tokyo. And if what you say doesn't match, you will be debuffed, while the opposite happens when you match your alignment with what you say. I was still neutral at this point, so I chose the neutral option and I got the buff. Before coming to this fight, talk to the cynical man to check your alignment before coming here to benefit from the buff. The next one is just a regular alignment question, but don't say, I don't know, or else Tenkai gets buffed. After a while, he will say that he cannot wait to be defeated, so we give him the defeat he so desires.
The stars begin to move.
We proceed into the building where there is around 50 floors, but don't be intimidated by this since you are actually going up 3 floors in reality. Right at this point, my luck set is around 40, and I have noticed that I started to crit and inflict ailments more often. Obviously, it is a good thing, but we won't see more crits at this moment due to our number. Later in the run, crits will be more common, but not by much. From what I read online, for a 100% crit rate, your luck sets it to be around 500. Spoiler for the end, I never reached that stat, let alone 200 luck. I can farm instances from enemies or the Red Rider Fiend, but enemy drops and the fiends themselves are rare. So that won't be possible unless I spend a big amount of time farming them. I don't want to spend more time than needed, so I'm going to skip that for now. Once we think we made it to the top, we meet the Angel Masuma, who is an ally of ours. He is here because he is keeping an eye on the red production in order to keep order in Tokyo. He removes the barrier blocking the way to the basement area, and once we pass by this very depressing section, we make it to Reverse Hills. Once we enter the Reverse Hills, we notice a sweet scent filling the air. That sweet scent is something of importance that will happen very soon. We investigate the area to see that they are harvesting something, and we get this keycard from the employee here. We also see some very strange stuff here. Very unsettling. The next guard we see in the next floor is taking care of these children that has repeated lines from that TV monitor during the hostage situation. Walter is right. Why are there children here? What's going on? Then the guard on the next floor gives us some very dark pieces of information. Apparently they are harvesting something from someone's brain. Unfortunately, he figures out that we are part of the Ringagaya, but I'm actually not, but whatever, since he sends out a horde to deal with us. We quickly dispatch them, and he gives us this bottle full of strange substances, as well as the final keycard to another floor. Once we reach the final floor, we enter the room at the end of the hallway, only to find out the dark truth of this establishment. You know of those red pills mentioned at certain parts of the story? Well, these red pills are made of harvesting material from the human brain. And they turn that material into these red pills in order to feed them to the demons. This is what Lilith wished for us to see. The dark side of Tayama. And now that we've seen all this, it's time to get out of here. But something is strange. The area is pink, and we start to notice a stronger, sweet scent filling the room. Another truth we find out is that this specific demon, Yasuo Magatsuhi, is the one responsible for this, but this scent pacifies us by making us act all crazy.
Yeah. I'm Walter. I'm the son of a fisherman. But I'm scared of fish! I must go tell everyone! How cowardly of you, dashing off without me! Then I'll admit something as well. In all candor, I am a cat. Meow. This floor is so deliciously warm.
What is happening? Is this the work of that demon? Ugh, it's always like this. Demons here, demons there, demons, demons, demons. It's also demoning.
Once we wake up, we are in Tayama's office to figure out why we were down here. Once he knows that Yuriko is actually Lilith, he tells us his reasoning for all this. Apparently when the firmament came up, the remaining humans were trapped in with the demons. There was no way out of there, and people were backed into a corner enough to not care for helping each other out. He argues that they wouldn't need red pills if they'd got along and help each other out. But human nature says otherwise. Then he lets us go. What's stopping us from going back in there to do damage next time? Anyways, we have a discussion outside regarding dealing with Yuriko. But Walter objects to this by opting out of killing Yuriko. We have an argument, but then we get interrupted by a call from Hugo to come back to Mikado and head to Shin Duke, a presumed holy land. Once we head back into Mikado, we see Shin Duke in the distance, a giant cocoon-like thing. And once we head in, we see this.
Huh? What is that?
Sister Gabby?
It turns out the people we saved at the Kagome Tower are none other than the three archangels: Michael, Uriel, Raphael. Oh, and also Gabby's actually Gabriel. Shocker, huh? Their goal is to turn the Eastern Kingdom of Mikado to be loyal to God, and to change the people's hearts for the benefit of the new millennium. When Isabel brings up the idea of the Tokyo people moving in, Gabriel claims that the unclean ones are not welcome in the new kingdom and will be annihilated if they do
They
enter.
attempt to enter this kingdom, then we shall once again eliminate them.
Jonathan decides to finally kill Yuriko, while Walter disagrees and decides to head to Tokyo to stop Taima, and Isabel, well, she remains undecided of this whole ordeal. Here's the part where the route split happens. You can either side with Jonathan and defeat Lilith, or you can side with Walter and stop Taima's plan for good. There is no neutral or third option, and any choice you pick will shift your alignment. Side with Jonathan, you get law points, or side with Walter and you get chaos points. I decided to side with Jonathan for two reasons. Lilith is actually weak to gun, and the other reason will be revealed later depending on which ending I choose. I wish Isabel came with us and she can provide healing, but such a change still remains undecided.
Still much that I must think about.
Before we head to Tsukichi Honganji, I want to test something. This is related to those elemental bullets I mentioned way earlier in the video. I wanted to see how much power I could dish out when I could target elemental weaknesses using my gun. I bought the ice bullets in the shop earlier and did a side quest to kill Okurinushi. Yeah, this thing does very good damage. It may seem low since I am doing around 100 damage per shot, but you got to remember that you trade some attack power for more bullets. I'm still using the bazooka line of guns and I recommend it because more hits leads to more crits as well as more chances to get smirks when the crit happens. It doesn't happen here because it is a smirk system and it isn't guaranteed, and Okurinushi does not last long and he goes down soon enough. Yeah, I'll just keep this in my bag for now. We head to Tsukichi Honganji where we see Taima's man who says that we can enter the building using a secret entrance by the benches. We pass through the secret hallway thing and we enter the domain where there's two bosses waiting for us. The first one is Agir Mikala. He doesn't seem to have weaknesses and of course he repels physical attacks, so no gun for me. His HP pool isn't much, so just get rid of him as fast as you can. The next one is the Dakini, who has an ice weakness. This time I can use guns, and it does good damage with the smirk and some buffs, but same thing, not a lot of HP and quick to defeat. Now, it is time to head into the room where Lilith lurks. She explains that she is upset that we are still slaves to God or something, and she challenges us. Now, Lilith is weak to guns, which is great for me, but she has around 7,000 HP, and resists every other element and drains electric. You think that this is a lot of HP for this point in the game, but you gotta remember that the bazooka gun I have hits 1 to 4 times, and each hit adds up to an average between 300 to 500 damage without a smirk. With a smirk, they hit for more than that. She does prompt us with some questions, so to get the benefits, just enter the opposite to what she's saying. Other than that, she doesn't have much, but she could be dangerous if unprepared. She has access to Luster Candy and Diorama. She also has the Kunda and Silent Prayer, which clears all buffs and debuffs from everyone in the field. Her damaging moves are Mekidola and Dream Needle, which can put us to sleep. They'd be dangerous, but I was prepared enough for this battle, and it doesn't take long for her to get killed.
It's all over.
Indeed it is. Your fantasy of that vile world is finished.
No. I am referring to you. For the gate to the expanse is being opened as we speak. By a youth, armed with knowledge and wisdom. By the hand of one you know very well. Your friend.
The gate to the expanse. Samurai at last.
This is very bad. Walter is on his way to open the gate to the expanse using the Yamato reactor and Ichigaya, and we have to prevent that from happening. Once we make it there, it is revealed that he already broke in, and by the time we get to where he is, he'd be close to reaching the reactor. A message for you all. At this point in Jonathan's path, this is the last chance you can change your alignment. If you want to get the difficult neutral path or change it to your desired ending, it is time to do it now before entering this door. After this, there's not much chance to change your alignment, and we're close enough to the alignment lock. So again, make sure that you're fully prepared and finished with whatever you need to do, and once we are ready, it is time to confront Walter. It turns out that he had already taken care of Yamato Takeru, the disappearing demon there, as well as Tayama. He says his ultimatum that he desires a world where the strong can do whatever they please, and he presses the button to open the expanse.
The gate has opened.
This is where we first meet the White. These entities who ultimately want the world to return to nothing. Their goal right now is to show us realities where we made certain choices that affect its world. The first one to take us to is the kind of demon force? Strange. At least Walter and Jonathan made it here safely. After arguing like a married couple, we go outside to see that everything is covered in sand.
What in the devil? The city is gone.
Welcome to Blasted Tokyo. This is the reality where apparently everything is made out of sand. At the start, the mapper function isn't working, so to get where you need to go, just head northwest until you see rubble. Turns out this rubble is actually an underground bunker filled with inhabitants. After a confrontation, they notice our gauntlets and arrest us for questioning. Well, turns out that what we have are called demonicas with a demon summoning program. This man named Kiyoharu is excited to see them for some reason, and now we are free to explore the place. In the room, we meet a man named Akira who mentions the White who told him of a prophecy that the Messiahs will save them and give him the remote to this reality's Yamato reactor. Not only that, we are told that this is actually a Shinjuku area of Tokyo that has been covered with poison caused by something called Pluto the Tormentor, and Akira will use the remote as a reward for defeating it. We accept the quest and we are now on our way to defeat Pluto. Once we reach the castle area, Pluto's castle looks pretty familiar, doesn't it? We head inside the cocoon-like thing to find out that these creatures are called Pluto soldiers, and we have to get rid of them to get past. They have no weaknesses, but since they are a horde, just use any hit-all spells to get rid of them as soon as you can. This dungeon seems confusing at first. There are a lot of corridors to traverse as well as pitfalls and elevators. If you know what you are doing, then it should be fine. I still don't know what I'm doing even after playing this game a few times, so I just had a guide next to me to tell me where to go. When you reach a certain area of the castle, you will encounter more soldiers known as Pluto Warriors. They don't have much HP, but the issue is that they have 6 press turns. Damage can add up, and I cannot afford dying here because I forgot to save. Turns out one of my demons drains electric, so it turned out to be easy in the end. We go even further to see another Pluto soldier called Pluto Giants. Same as last time, 6 press turns, large HP, no weakness, and easy to clear. We travel a bit further to finally enter the basement floor where Pluto is doing his weird poison thing. So to prepare, we do a bit of fusing and equipping my ice bullets for the first or second time, and we are ready to take this machine down. Pluto has a weakness to ice, but he drains fire and gun, hence the use of the ice bullets. He has a large HP pool and some serious skills, Sunny Ray and Vonera. Sunny Ray does weak fire damage. Sounds good until you find out that it has a high chance of poisoning you. Vonera, on the other hand, does almighty damage with the chance to bind. Yeah, these are very serious skills to keep a watchful eye on. For this, I recommend getting the Sturdy Earring in the Members Only Club in Ginza. But I haven't unlocked it yet, so I never got access to it. Other rings you can get are the Silver Necklace and the Antidote Ring, which blocks bind and poison respectively. These can be given from quests you could have done in regular Tokyo, but I didn't do them because they are quests that affect alignments. Plus, I forgot that they exist at all, so I didn't prepare well this time around. With the lack of Amrita showers, I am always binded and poisoned. I have single ailment curing items, but they aren't enough to spam every turn. The only good thing is Asura and his fire repelling, which ends Pluto's turns. All I can do is just spam ice bullets, get extra turns, and use those extra turns trying to heal. The battle goes long enough where he is in the red, and Mitra takes the final shot to finally end the terror of Pluto. We head back to Shinjuku to tell Akira the news, and he is delighted to hear that. And in our honor, he will name the new society the Eastern Kingdom of Mikado. Wow. Totally similar to our story, isn't it? Our founder was also named Akira. Ra.
Huh?
Wait, this sounds very familiar. Familiar or not, we take the remote and we head to Ichigaya to reach the Yamato reactor. The layout is pretty similar to our Ichigaya, and it isn't too confusing. It seems straightforward until you reach those one-way doors. Anyways, we reach the reactor. It seems that we are fated to do this, as Jonathan said. So we press the remote once more to be taken to the White, who explains that the Tokyo we just left was a world of preservation, which means the law path. Now we are transported to another world where the opposite happens. And by opposite, I mean landing in the counter demon force base once again. Some weird humanoid walks in to see us intruders and calls out for Akira. This world has his own Akira? Pretty strange, huh? We head outside and into another room to meet this world's Akira. He looks a little bit different though. Anyways, he mentions that us intruders were the messiahs that the White told him was going to help defeat Kenji. We accept the quest and now we are on our way to make a pit stop at Shinjuku. We head outside to see a inflamed world, an inferno Tokyo filled with fire and destruction. And Walter says that he agrees with it because this is a world where everyone is free to do whatever you want as long as you got the strength to back it up. Yeah, Walter, I have no idea what to say. Now, Inferno Tokyo's map layout is similar to regular Tokyo, but like regular Tokyo, it is confusing to walk around in, and I got lost for a few minutes before going to where we are supposed to go. At the entrance, we are stopped by Vitala, and by ruining our cover, we are tasked to take him down. He is just a trash boss that you can take down pretty quickly, so just use any fire attacks to kill him quickly. Down in the Shinjuku Underground Mall, there is a domain set up by the demon Mahama Yuri, the boss of this place, and we have to kill him for Akira to claim Shinjuku. He first sends out a Yaksha horde, which is weak to force and repels ice. Just clear it as soon as you can with the hit all spell since you want to save MP for when the big boss Mahama Yuri comes. He is weak to electric and repels force, so just be careful to not think he is the same as the horde. He has good HP, but he has skills that can reflect magic as well as some debuff spells and the occasional Hamao. It would have went great if Ouroboros didn't get lost. Yeah, unfortunately when your demons get hit by any Zon spell, there is a chance to lose them during the battle, and you cannot retrieve them until the battle ends and you have to find them in a random encounter. It sucks, but what can I do except summon another demon to take its place? After that, it doesn't take long for him to go down. Just blast him with the best electric spells and bullets, and you should be good to go. Shinjuku is now Akira's, and now we are heading to Ichigaya to finally take down Kenji. In order to get to where he is, we have to pose as new applicants to become nourishers for the demonoids around Inferno Tokyo. Once we get a keycard, we reach the elevator to reach his vault room. We gear up and do whatever we need before challenging the strongest of Inferno Tokyo, Kenji. Kenji is weak to fire and force. 2 weaknesses in this economy? Yeah, but in this economy there's a catch where striking a weakness does less damage than a normal resistance. I had to use fire or force bullets, but he isn't resistant to gun, and you deal more damage with the gun critical than the fire weakness, so regular gun bullets it is. He also has some very strong moves that can damage your party, especially the Mamodun spell that can insta-kill all your party members. His worst skill is Ancient Curse, which inflicts a number of ailments on your party. This is really bad since if you get binded or sleepy, you lose turns. This is really dangerous, so we will have to do what we can to endure his Ancient Curse skill. Oh, before it happens, there is a point during the fight where you think he goes down. And to that I say, don't pick up the remote. If you do, he'll debuff your team, so make sure you do not pick that up. During the fight, Flynn goes down, and this is really bad because I was dumb enough to not put a recarm skill onto a demon before fighting Kenji. So now I have to rely on my demons who are struggling with ailments. I would have restarted the fight, but I want to see if I can still clutch it. So I decided to continue. A bit later, he spams a Mamodun and kills the 8-legged horse. Yeah, I don't know how to pronounce that. So now the one standing is Ouroboros, our main healer, and Asura. By the time this happens, Kenji is already in the red. So I keep going, keep attacking, until Walter ended it thus.
I hope you're prepared.
Prophecy was true.
Pushing the button now.
Now that Kenji is dead, it's time to head back home.
Hold.
But not until we meet with the White again. Dave mentions that they showed us a world of law and chaos, and that we humans are in an endless cycle of repeating our mistakes, and their proposed solution is to return all to nothing. This right here is where the alignment lock happens. If you choose to follow through with their plan, you will reach the white ending, but we don't want to do that in this video. I haven't mentioned it, but now it's time to decide my alignment. I have carefully chosen my choices throughout the game for this specific moment. I choose my desired world, and they get angry that I didn't follow through with their plan, and now we are destined to be stuck in the white forest until the day we die.
The law of God, the temptation of demons, and the despair of the white. You turned them all down and chose your own path.
We are greeted by Steven in the monochrome forest, which means that we are locked into the neutral ending.
Wouldn't you say so?
I mean, it's to be expected. I kinda already alluded to that a couple of times in the story. It has the most content out of the two endings, and I think this ending at the very least is the best ending in this game. And also, another reason I did this ending is because I just loved Isabeau.
Now,
I could never do bad things like kill her in the other routes. Spoiler alert. Anyways, Steven tells us that the white are scattered around the forest, and we have to defeat them all before escaping this place. Yeah, I'd rather not be here since this place is confusing as hell, and I've gotten lost many times in the past playthroughs I've done. We find the whites one by one to defeat them, and I'm going to skip over them because they all get cleared by the Gira Makala I recruited around the forest. He killed White Hugo with his physical attack, he drained White K's gun moves, while Flynn finishes him after, and White Isabeau accidentally struck our barely alive team and had her physical attacks reflected. The one that gave me the most trouble was White Issachar. I wasn't really prepared enough, and I got unlucky when his not-wave skill wiped out my whole party. Yeah, we try again and challenge him with the experience we got. I tried to buff up my agility as soon as possible, that he can lose his turns when we do dodge his attacks in order to not be hit by his not-wave. Not-wave is a skill that has a very low chance of instant-killing your party. He also has some physical attacks as well as charge to boost them. Oh, and he also has Luster Candy. He is really stacked, but with the Gira Makala on my team, he doesn't stand a chance. As long as Gira Makala is lucky to survive though, that's another question. During the battle, he will ask you questions, so the first one just respond with a neutral sounding question that sounds the most neutral. And for the second one, think about Walter and Jonathan. Think about your friends that you're gonna oppose later on in the story. After that, just make sure you top up your health and keep up buffs and debuffs. Eventually, Issachar is in the red, and at the final shot, just like the real Issachar, it is time to put him to rest. After the fight, Steven reveals that the little girl from earlier is actually the goddess of Tokyo, and our mission will be to revive her. And to revive her, we need to remove the dome that houses the Eastern Kingdom of Mikado, and bring sunlight back to Tokyo. Isn't there like a whole castle sitting up above the firmament? Well, that doesn't matter since he teleports us back to the real Tokyo with someone apparently waiting for us.
I'll leave the rest to you.
Wake up. Please, why won't you wake up? Thank goodness. I have been searching far and wide for you. Where have you been?
The first thing we see when we wake up is Isabeau, and explains that the army of angels and demons are prepared to start their fight with each other. The angels plan to destroy Tokyo with the Yamato reactor, while the demons plan to raid Naraku to cause chaos in the kingdom of Mikado. Since we don't know what to do, Isabeau joins us in hopes of finding an answer.
But I'm glad I found you. I simply don't know what to do. Won't you permit me to stay with you?
Okay, the neutral path is infamous for the amount of side quests you have to complete. What you are supposed to do is go around Tokyo giving hope to the people, and some chalice fills with its hopes. This is very tedious since you aren't told which ones you should complete. Personally, I'd follow the specific neutral guide. I'll link it in the description if you want to be up to date at this point. Speaking of these neutral quests, I have been doing these quests off camera, and by this point I'm missing the ones like the Ginza Black Card quest, the Championship Games, and some other Menayo quests that I forgot to do up until this point. The only one to bring up is the Ginza Black Card quest because this quest is the one where you have to have a lot of Maka in hand in order to complete it. The point of this quest is to unlock each section of the downtown Ginza by completing each section. First, you need to have around 15,000 Maka in order to buy access to the West Wing and the item you get from some dude in the poison rooms. Second, you go to the South Wing in order to buy access for 50,000 Maka and find the item needed to proceed. Third, you must accept this quest from the Hunters Association where you need to find the item from another man in the poison rooms. This time, you must buy it for 100,000 Maka. And then you have to submit it to the Hunters Association and you complete the quest needed for the neutral route. Yeah, in total, you need 165,000 Maka to finish this quest. That is BS. And I really did not want to spend most of my time farming relics, especially since relics apparently respawn in real time, not in-game time. I could do the bind plus fun race trick, but that also takes time to do. I am very close to the end of the game, and I also want to use that Maka for fusing demons instead of this dumb quest. So this is the point where I start doing the Maka DLC. Yeah, this whole time I have been holding off from doing this since I want to see how far I can do this before needing a high Maka account. And I think this is a good time to do it. Anyways, after farming and paying the 100,000 Maka, I finally completed the quest to reach the north section of Ginza. This gives you access to the Ginza shop, which houses some amazing gear like the Endure Ring and other equipment. Since I already started the DLC, I might as well farm some more Maka in order to gain what I need. Especially the sick-ass Demonica suit. Now that we've done the quest needed, for the most part, it is time to head to Cafe Florida. We talk to Fujiwara and Sgenza about what to do, which we bring up the deity Masakado to help us, and we take this sick-ass sword to awaken Masakado. Once we head to Ginza, we see this giant rocks in the middle of the intersection, who is actually Masakado himself. Masakado explains that we have been reincarnated and he knows of our intentions to free Tokyo from the firmament. Unfortunately, he explains that we need to fill this chalice of hope with something, but we don't know what said something is as of yet.
Perhaps the best way.
We don't have to travel far to know that in the Hunters Association, they changed the ranking system into a system where whoever does the most quests can be deemed the champion of Tokyo. We are currently in second place, and this is because there is the Tokyo Cosmos quest that unlocks after talking with Masakado. We quickly complete that quest, and once we head back, we are now in first place. That's great or not, but what does first place gets us? Well, nothing but the people of Tokyo glazing our asses for doing some quests. Well, there's something else, which is the people's glazing of Flynn fills the chalice of hope. We give the filling to Masakado, who has enough power to open the way to the final dungeons of the game, starting with Purgatorium. This dungeon isn't that long, but what sucks is that there are some sections where you can get lost if you aren't following a guide or know where to go. To proceed, you have to defeat mini-bosses blocking the way forward. Just quickly get rid of them and you should be good to go. I am not going to discuss every boss, but some notable moments that occurred during my time here. First thing to note, since we are close to the end of the game, I have decided to embrace elemental bullets whenever I need to. So I equip it for the Azrael boss. When you put up his Makara Karn, the spell that reflects any magic spell, my gun can penetrate the boss. I was confused since I thought that it would reflect since ice bullets and the like aren't exactly pierce elements. This is confirmed before coming here with an all-CL from a random encounter when I put up a Tetrakarn, which said Tetrakarn blocked my bullets, even if it was ice element. I don't know how to proceed with this information. This meant that I could have been using elemental bullets any time during the run, since they aren't considered magic in the traditional sense. After a while, we finally reach this big gate which houses the boss behind it. We prepare ourselves before entering the doors, and the voice of Jonathan tells us that he doesn't agree that we are there to disturb his method of peace. He transforms into Merkabah, and now we have to fight him.
I shall reduce you to ash for the sake of a new millennium of order. Salvation is no longer open to you. The Lord has withdrawn mercy for you for all eternity. Heretics and unclean ones, be sundered by the Lord Almighty's power and perish.
At first, I thought that he would be difficult because I wasn't using overpowered magic spells and physical moves that are buffed with Concentrate and Charge. It turns out, this boss is still completely easy. Like, what do you want me to say? You want me to say something along the lines of, this boss gave me a hard time or something? I cannot say anything about this boss because it is that easy. Merkabah has a couple of spells, some damaging moves, Takaja, and a notable Chariot, which lowers our agility when we are hit. We can easily counter these moves by prepping demons to resist those spells, as well as having Debilitate and Lust to Candy, which is what I have. The only thing notable was Amaterasu dying because she is still prone to electric spells, but I have other demons in my stock who can feel her roll a bit. We hit him enough time to think that we finished him off, but we are not done yet since he transforms into his second form. It is the same as the last one, but with new skills like Hexagram and Shall Not Resist. Hexagram can immediately kill any party member, and this skill cannot miss. There is no way to block this move since it is considered almighty. Shall Not Resist is the same as Chariot, but lowers defense instead. Again, this boss isn't hard at all, as the only change is the added skills explained just now. I forgot to mention that there are in-battle dialogue that helps the player. In this form, if you answer correctly, you get a buff as well as an HP MP top up. I didn't need the latter, but the former helps. Anyways, we notice that he is getting low in health, so we heal up both our teams to keep this battle going, and eventually, Isabel wanted Merkaba to take this.
Take this!
This cannot be. We are the heralds of the Lord. Know this. Humans are not strong enough. Those who yearn for us will surely arise again. When that time comes, may we meet again.
Jonathan fought fairly and valiantly to the end for the path he chose. As his fellow samurai, I must pay my respect to him. Hark! What's this? Is this Mikado Castle?
After the battle, we return to the Eastern Kingdom of Mikado to see the spirits of goodwill in front of us. We take it, and Isabel decides to split up and try to persuade the whole kingdom to immigrate to the land of Tokyo, where they will be safe from the eventual collapse of the firmament under them. I really wanted Isabel to stay in my party, but I guess she has other ideas.
I shall see you by and by.
After splitting up, it is time to head to Camp Ichigaya to finally take on Lucifer's palace. Just like Purgatorium, there is a gimmick where you are in endless hallways, as stated by the name of this section, that teleports you to different sections. You can tell what section you are based on how many chests are in the middle of the room. The first boss we eventually reach is the room where Belial is waiting for us. Belial, like any of the bosses until this point, is not hard at all. He has the weakness to ice, but there is a catch. When I was attempting this boss, I thought that attacking his weakness caused him to heal up to full, but it's not that. You heard that right. He has extra Dia Rahan, which fully heals to full, and he uses that skill if you apply any buff or debuff. I don't think I ever targeted his weakness due to my misconception with his gimmick, but it doesn't take that long to finish him. Eventually, we reach the next room where we fight with Lucifuge. Unlike Belial, Lucifuge has no weaknesses, so we cannot exploit it. And from what I researched, he doesn't really have a gimmick. However, he does spam Tetracard and Makara card at the end of his turns, which drags out the battle a bit. Oh, did I also forget to mention that he repels gun? Yeah, I cannot rely on crits here, but luckily I have element bullets, so I equip one that he doesn't resist, and I go to town. After that, we have access to go deeper into the palace and to the outdoor area. This is where we fight the final terminal guardian, Shiva, who was pretty cool when I first fought him, but he wasn't enough for my gun. We fight our way through encounters, and we are now at the Morning Star Hall. This is it, guys. This is the final battle of the game, and I cannot wait for this challenge to end on a good note. We prepare and enter the gates where we see Walter. Walter explains that he doesn't approve of us trying to kill Lucifer, as he is related to human desire. He transforms, and he is ready for battle. Like Merkaba, he isn't as hard as you think. He has access to some physical skills, regular magic, and debuff spells like Debilitate and Dukunda. The only one to look out for is the Evil Shine skill, which is almighty and can inflict a panic ailment on anyone that gets hit. This is bad since any party member can be unpredictable. The worst thing I could think of is if Maya uses Meteor Rahan on Lucifer, which completely heals him. Luckily, that doesn't happen during this attempt, but it could happen. I don't want to risk that, so I play very carefully. He asks a question here, and I answer correctly and receive healing. That was completely useless for me, but anything is better than getting debuffed. It doesn't take long for him to go in the red, and once we do a bit more damage, we take him down. I say as he transforms into his second form. Now this form is the same as the last one, but he has more up his sleeve. I don't know if he has access to these skills before, but now he is programmed to use these more. Morningstar and Kingly 1. Morningstar is almighty and drops the HP by half. Kingly one is the same as Hexagram from Merkabah, but it doesn't kill the demon, instead it just returns it to your comp. First thing he does is use Kingly one and Quetzalcoatl, which sucks and inflicts panic on my party. It also happens again when he uses Evil Shine, then Morning Star, then Evil Shine once again, which wipes out Quetzalcoatl and Amaterasu. This isn't good, so I try to stay alive long enough to revive them. Luckily I had enough summon stones to revive Amaterasu, and I used it to summon Sphinx, and not before long, we are back in business. Eventually, Sphinx gets hit with panic, and instead of doing something dumb, he used doping. I didn't really realize I had that skill, but it helps to keep her HP high enough to endure his attacks. Eventually, he reaches the red, which means we are close to winning. I know that we are almost done, but my gun keeps hitting 1 to 2 times, which sucks, and even with my high luck, I cannot seem to hit crits. It sucks, but eventually, we endure a bit more before we take him down with a fading reflect of his myriad arrows.
This cannot be. The sons of men are not strong enough. I shall see you again.
That was something. And now we got the Spirit of Spite. Isabel calls us to let us know that she migrated the whole kingdom somehow to Tokyo, and now we are tasked to meet her at Cafe Florida.
Shall I see you there?
This is it, everyone. Just this little moment before the credits roll. We see Hope outside welcoming us inside the cafe. We see the other Mikado characters while Isabel is happy to see us. The atmosphere is great, just as Burroughs put it.
Anyway, congrats.
After this, we head to Ginza to see Masakado, where he eats the spirits of goodwill and spite, and we finally see the dome being removed from Tokyo, returning the sun to the city.
Everyone came back. I'm so happy.
My dear human, I am revived. It is all due to your efforts in granting hope to everyone. Tokyo will be restored to its former splendor. See, it begins. Thanks.
Everyone, this is Shin Megami Tensei 4. I really love this game, and this run cemented that for me. This challenge was really fun to do, and even if it was a simple one, I still loved running a sword and gun build. To look back into this challenge, it wasn't too difficult in the long run. At the start, I could only rely on a low damage sword because I didn't get a gun until after the Minotaur, and the game got easier as soon as I bought the bazooka line of guns. This game has the reputation of having a hard tutorial that eases in difficulty when reaching Tokyo, and I couldn't agree more. If this game ever gets remastered, then I hope they change not only the difficulty, but stuff like smirking and demon stat distribution. Even with its drawbacks, I'd love for people to give this game a try, and I recommend newcomers to just use magic with the occasional agility. This game does have a magic bias, but physical skills can work too. Just try this game out and you'll have a good time. Going back to the sword and gun build, I know that I relied on my gun a lot instead of my sword. First thing is that I found the gunplay more fun than just slashing my sword. Maybe I should have went for a mixed build, but I lose out on damage. Me and others recommend that you should just focus on one damage type. It's best not to be a jack of all trades character since you can take advantage of the spells given to you. At the end of the day, just play however you want. If you want to have 400 luck by the end of the game, you'll be dealing crits every hit. You can always farm instances from demons and fiends anyways, so there's no need to worry about such things. Speaking of future projects, I'm still trying to figure this YouTube thing out, but I like to make challenge videos on games I enjoy and have fun with. A couple of games I'm considering is SMT 5 Vengeance and Devil Survivor 2. Maybe you guys like me to play any game Megaten related or not, just let me know. About SMT 4 Apocalypse, I do want to do a no magic run in that game as well, since it's related to SMT 4, and I might do that one next once this is uploaded. However, at the time of writing the script, there was a Steam sale going on, and I've gotten some new games like Metaphor on sale, and I'd like to take a break of mainline Megaten by enjoying my summer break. After a while, I will get started on the Apocalypse run. Anyways, thank you very much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please like it, share it to others, and leave a comment that can help me make my videos better. If you want to see more, please subscribe. I'd appreciate it a lot. And that's it for today. Thank you very much for watching, and have an awesome rest of your day.